Hi there everybody, we're live. Can everybody see and hear me okay? I hope my equipment is good. Thanks for showing up again. We've got Rebecca Richardson here again. Hey Rebecca, Susan, hey, how's it going? We've got a lot of you back from our earlier videos, so hey, I feel good. If I was able to keep you with me over multiple shows, I'd be concerned if none of the same viewers were coming back again. So thanks for showing up. Hi, Susan. You know, I need to know this. I need to know how to say your name. Jui? Jui? Shatya? I was planning to, but I see this is your last comment you left, so you know which name I'm trying to say. I decided to try this after I see everything that is done. I gotta know how to say Jui. Hui, Jui. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Val. From Quebec. Cool. Joe SL from Quebec. Very cool. We've got people from a lot of different places here. I'm going to scroll up real quick on the live chat. We got Susan from Pittsburgh. Rebecca's from California. Who else do we got? We got a lot of different places tuning in. Hi, I'm from Morgan. Wait, that skipped on me. Morning, Joe, watching from South Carolina is Bridget. Cool. And then we've got Morgan Hill. Teresa Anguiano from Morgan Hill. Where is Morgan Hill? I actually don't know where that is. Hello, Pescando con El Salvador. Hello from Wyoming. Netherlands, Albuquerque, cool, Texas, from Lake Worth. Loyal, loyal followers. Yes, indeed, you are. El Salvador, cool. Hi from Izmir, Turkey. Cool. Wow, man, tuning in from all over. Tulsa, Oklahoma is Mary Sue, California. Got that one. We got watching from Grayson, Kentucky. Hi, Brenda. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Okay, so I'm gonna flip over to my other view that we've got set up here, and so you can see that I've got a lot to do to get this finished. I need to come in here and put reflections of my background, and I feel like now that, you know, when I painted this water, it was just generic gray reflection. Now that I've got this painted, I want to adjust the reflection color more like I did over here. And so for me, so much of a painting is not done by feel. I mean, creative decisions are done by feel, but the coloring I do with just a more analytical process. And so I'm imagining, you know, I like to have tools to build what I'm imagining. And so when I'm looking at getting the painting final, I think, well, the creative side of me is saying, well, it'd be nice if there was a little ray of sun hitting this spot, maybe a heron on the water. Yeah, I don't know, just throwing out ideas. And you know, I'm thinking about where to put an accent. But then the analytical process is saying, okay, to tie it all together, to kind of compress this into one unified scene, I need to have these kinds of colors in these places, and I'm going over it like that as well. So right away, I'm just going to come in here and put some color on there. So this is just like all my videos. This is where I'm just using memorization of what colors do when they mix, in terms of light. What light colors, not paint colors, because everybody that's watched my videos knows that I have what paint colors do when they mix versus what light colors do when they mix, and I'm trying to make paint simulate light. So the question is, what would this blue-green light do when it mixes with this brownish colored light? it's going to make a gray. If it was like just a bluish color, if it was more blue with this orange, then it would make like a gray violet. And that would be because blue plus red in the orange. So an orange is made from more red than green. So since we're heavier on the red and blue with that mix, we would have like a gray violet. But with the green in there, it adds more of that third color of those three primaries, red, green, blue. This is just, I'm telling you, you don't need to remember this right now. I'm not telling you so you remember. I just want to tell you my thought process, how I think through it, is by understanding those primaries, red, green, blue, and then, you know, that's my model, my hypothetical model that I think, okay, if I have this amount of red and green, this amount of blue, my result's going to be this, you know. So I think someone real familiar with computers, how they generate light, kind of has a head start on that. So I'm going to go in here and make a gray real quick. So I just want a gray, not a purple gray like this one, just gray. And I'm going to put that as my reflection on this orange water. So I'm using a smaller brush now. I went a little bit too high. I want to put straighter lines on this now that I've kind of got my scene in place. I'm going to try to make straighter lines. So I got to think about color, and I need to think about value, lightness, darkness. How light or dark do I want this to be? I need it to be in between on both accounts. I need it to be in between on lightness, in between on color. So I'm going to get a little bit lighter. I feel like they're pretty equal in darkness. My two colors I'm trying to mix in order to get this reflection, pretty equal on brightness. And maybe this one is a little brighter, because what I'm really doing is replacing this color. I'm not mixing this color in here. That was my old reflection I'm replacing. So I'm thinking, okay, my bright red-orange colored rocks that I have down here mixed with the green. So I want to go a little bit lighter than this reflection here so that it's kind of halfway between on brightness, and I have like a sunny stream represented. So if you have just a general rule, because of that principle of it being in between the two things, lightness, darkness, because of that principle, you can say, if you want shallow water, if you want sunlit shallow water that's bright, you can make your reflections a little lighter. If you want deep water, then you can make the reflection darker than the source. Because, you know, it depends on what color is being contributed by the water. Okay, so now I'm going to go like this, horizontal lines. I just make real straight horizontal lines to put this reflection color in here. And I just want to be real mindful of the direction. It's not going to look very much like water if I make these lines go like diagonal up and down. I really want to be careful with the direction of this. At this great distance, you know, not as crucial in the closer parts. I have a little more room to scramble the up and down waves, you know. Okay, let's put a gray stripe right here, right there for our horizon. We've got our more distant water back there, and look, I need to go even brighter because this gets real light back here. So let's go lighter and a little more blue. Let's get a little tiny bit of blue. And let's put it in there. I just want to see barely a little bit of difference. It's almost the same color as that super distant layer. And see, I can take this edge. I've got this edge of trees. So if I take this lighter color and I bring that down here, let's go a little lighter, just so we can see this edge. I bring that down right here. I can make the edge of this reflection in here. See? Like that. So we've got our lighter color from the more distant background that's got a lot more atmosphere. And then we've got our darker reflection from where it's closer. And both of these need to blend into this foreground color. So, I can just use this method. I don't always have to do wet on wet, fast mixing, matching colors. I can just add a little water to the brush and do, what's probably done more commonly, and that is just transparent layers, which is so much easier to do with acrylic paints, with water-based paints, because it dries immediately and you can just go layer on layer on layer, just minutes apart. And so I can start putting this reflection coming down further and further, and it just gets lighter as it goes. This is the fast way, just going like this. I don't always have to make it a big color matching science project. Okay, now I've got some good reflection coming down. I probably want to tidy up that little edge. And before I do that, I want to bounce back over here to the comments and see if anybody's showing up right now. We're still at the beginning of the show, so I want to just see who's here. That's all. I just want to see what we're doing. So let's go back to our view here. Hey everybody, I'm getting used to the two cameras. The one yesterday, I was like, I noticed watching back on it, I got this camera going, but I'm looking at this camera. I'm like, where who am I looking at? Being conscious of more stuff at the same time, So, reading a couple more of your comments. Okay, we got an interesting thing here. Computer and cameras do not show the exacted color of my painting and make it lighter or darker. It's frustrating. Yeah. So if I understand what you're saying, the computer doesn't give it doesn't duplicate the same look. It kind of unbalances the colors a little bit. And I have that same frustration. Yeah, it is. It's hard to get real good color representation of what it looks like in real life. I have all my opinions on how the industry should have done color modeling on computers, but it's probably the wrong can of worms to open up on this stream. But man, I'm right there with you. It is frustrating. Hydro says Wings and Things Studio. Hey, thanks for being here. Cool. I saw a face in the tree. Well, hey, that happens to me all the time. I don't even need drugs. Missed yesterday, so what I am seeing is really different. Very nice. Thank you, Jacqueline. That's nice of you to say. Good morning. We've got people showing up, and it's the best to see where the direct light is coming from. I'm reading Teresa's comment. See where the direct light is coming from and paint the shadows and highlights. That's definitely my method, is first thinking the direction of light. But who said boring? Wait, I gotta get back to this. So Fiona says boring. That's funny. Put a dinosaur. Glad to be here, says Berta Camposeco. I think I said that okay. Boy. Oh man, that's good. Hola, buenos dias, saludos. All right, thanks for coming, Claudia. Cool, glad you're here. You're painting in acrylic color. Yes, I am. They're acrylics. These are wall paints, and like I do in just about every video, before I go back and paint on this picture, I'm going to go back right now, switch the camera back over to the painting. But let me take you over real quick. Just forgive my shaky hands for a moment while I show you. This is the paint that I'm working out of right here, and this is wall paint. So I got this at Sherwin-Williams. Mostly there's some odd cans in there that are from different places. And I've got my setup of primary colors. You can see more about the colors that I like to use on the FAQ on my website, muraljoe.com. Just do muraljoe.com/FAQ. You can see you can see a description of my favorite kind of paints to use. And I use the same thing. It's because I started with paint contracting and then moved on to doing murals and then to doing canvases. So because of that path that I took, I just thought, man, I feel like I could just whip out canvases fast if I just took my thinner, more watery wall paints and just, you know, they're less expensive, they've got good color. Now, to be fair, these paints, you know, I've got these tubes. These are more traditional artist tubes. They have more vivid color. The pigment ratio is stronger. The coverage is better, but I like the speed. The big cans, you know, getting stuff done. It's a little more expensive to try to move fast with those little tubes. All right, we're going to cut over to this camera again, and I'm going to start putting more objects in my picture. So what am I going to do to finish this? Really what I want to do is just finish it. I don't want to. It's kind of nice, you know, right here I've got on the computer screen, I've got my small view, and that helps. You know, if you really want an advantage on just handling the composition of your picture, taking little pictures of it as you go or putting a camera on it has been so helpful to me. I can see all kinds of stuff that doesn't really stick out to me when it's blown up bigger. So I think it'd be cool if I had like redder rocks. Someone mentioned, why so saturated on the rocks? And I was like, well, because it's fun. I like saturated colors. I can demonstrate real good the reflection. But then I was like, but this is a good point to bring up. What if we had something a little more common, like the I don't know what I did with my brush. I'm just trying to see what I did with that brush while I was chit-chatting. Oh, it's in my water bucket. I always keep a water bucket handy so that I can lose brushes. And you know, as my brush gets a lot of paint on it, it's just a quick dip in the brush, quick swish. I very rarely clean it out real thoroughly. And then after I get some water on it, I keep towels on my little desk where I've got all those paints, and I just wipe the brush on there like I'm sharpening a knife. It's real important to me to maintain that shape on the brush. Most of my techniques are manipulating this shape, although I do pull out other tools once in a while, like a little sponge for some texture, or I have yet to have good results with a fan brush. It's been recommended to me. I'm not Bob Ross, you know, he was awesome with his different brushes, different techniques, but I mostly stick with this brush. So what if we just did like some grayer rocks in here? So in here we've got our kind of red rocks, but what if over in here they were a little more gray? So why don't we just zoom in a little bit and get a little bit closer here so that you can see what I'm painting. I'm thinking that in here we want something that looks like it's fading up into dirt. So maybe we've got redder colored rocks, but I want something grayer here where it looks like it's going up into the dirt. So we've got a little bit of my rusty color. That is red oxide, maroon, whatever you want to call it. It's a very rusty color. And so I'm going to put that down with some black, and I'm going to use lots of black. Red, orange, let's say orange. And this is like a dark orange. Orange, black, and white is really all I ever needed for any kind of rock color, you know, any kind of normal rock color. I mean, we're not trying to paint a bunch of emeralds or something down here, but I can get any shade of gray with the black and white. I can make it brown with the red and yellow. Red, yellow, black, and white, let's say that. So I'll put little bits of highlight where I have my rocks. And so I'm glad I mentioned the yellow. Let's put yellow on there so it doesn't look quite as red. So in here, I'm just using the blacker areas for shadow. I'll use the more colorful areas for highlight. So I just was careful not to mix this all the way. Let's go like this. And so now I've got kind of bigger rocks in here. And what I do to turn them into more three-dimensional objects is just shade the lower edge. Shade the lower edge. Blend the lower edge is the word I'm looking for. Blend that lower edge. Leave the top edge of all of my highlights. And now I'll put a little bit more in there. Let's put a little more white, a little more yellow, and we'll get a little bit more gray. I keep saying little bit, little bit, little bit. I'm just realizing it's going to get annoying hearing me say that. A little bit more, a little bit more. Okay. So I'm just putting splotches of this highlight color on here and then blending that lower edge. I put them the size that I want the rocks to be. And then if I blend that lower edge, it gives a little more of a three-dimensional look coming up out of the water. And I can go back and put shadows in as well. So let's put a little bit darker shadows. Little bit. Oh, I hate that. Now I'm keyed in on it. Isn't that funny how when you key in on something, somebody does something quirky or repeating? Once you tune in, you can't untune. Stop doing that. Oh man. I wish you were here to like snap me with a rubber band every time I said that. It's good. Having family around is the best way to break yourself of quirky habits. You just got to be brave enough to announce it and say, all right, you got to tell me every time I make that funny breathing noise, every time I make all my little tics and, you know, unnecessary throat noises. Sometimes too much idle time develops facial tics, weird quirks. I get those all the time, man. So we just tell each other. We're like, you're doing it, you need to stop doing it. It's just a friendly reminder, that's all it is. And we help each other. Take the shame out of it and just start dealing with it. So it'd be nice if that had some great relevance to the painting, but the truth is this is just kind of a redundant, repetitive process, and I needed something else to talk about. So I used more of the yellow and black, still used the maroon, but just less of the maroon in order to get a much grayer color on the rocks. And so now, in order to get reflection on areas, I want to have more color in one spot. I want to have more grayish reflection on another. So let's get some little wave patterns in there. So the way I'll turn this into little wave ripples is maybe I'll mix a color since I'm getting kind of, we probably don't need to here. Let's just go like this. Let's put blue, and let's just say we've got little areas. This is close, so I just need little tiny spots of reflection of the sky. So we're going to put little bits of blue. Blue is going to turn green, and we don't want that. We want this to stay a little more purple. So I'm adding red right on top of that blue, like this. And then I'm going to put a little bit of white in here. And the way I'm putting the brush across this is just using the long point of it. And I go against that long point like this. This is the direction I go. And it just flattens out that brush like this. That's my stroke. And so I grab the white now that it's on my hand instead of the brush. And like this. And so now it's not too green. And if I go over it just a few times, I'm going to get some stretched out shapes. Let's just kind of scatter them like this. And then we've got some reflection going across those rocks. Let's put a little bit more white in there. How about? Just a little bit more. And since this is in the foreground, really I can afford to make the shapes a little bit more on diagonal paths like that. So It seems like that's enough right there. Just getting the colors dialed in is enough on that one to just get the subtle effect of some reflection. Here, let's do a little bit more white in there, wherever I have those blue spots. Like this. Some right there, there. There's my lighter areas. And then, if I really want to get more detailed with this is how I did all this in here, is sometimes we see the shadows continuing right through. You know, we see the shadows continuing through both reflection and highlight. So, you know, I guess this is overly technical, but it might be fun to just put a little bit of black, like right in here. We've got the shadow between those rocks. See it? And so wherever I have a shadow, I can put that shadow, just a subtle little shadow in the reflection area as well, so that then maybe it looks like my water is more transparent, and now it's not just a brush stroke of blue paint on top of brown. You know, I can kind of see the images transferring a little bit by just putting a little bit of the details coming through. Here, let's put a little bit right in here like this. But I got to watch out that that's not like, you know, it's a very subtle thing. Since this is reflection, it's all got to be lighter. I need all lighter. I don't want dark shadows in there if I do that effect. So I put a few shadows in the reflection. I've got darker shadows in the faces of the waves. And we've got more than one way to handle that effect if we want to. We can also do it this way. I'll put reflection color in here, and I'm going to start fading this into a little bit more reddish color. So here I'll do the same thing. Now I'm going to do reflection color first, then add the rocks over it. So a little different method. So reflection color is going to be something like this gray, blue, violet color. It would be just gray if it was on the orange. It's more blue where it's on the more colorless base. So in here, I'm going to make a slightly blue and very gray but slightly blue reflection color first. So let's do this. So a little bit purple, and yeah, I think that's good. That's in between these two. And I said slightly blue, but when light mixes, you know, when blue light mixes with things, it really tends to get more purple. And so if I just bend a little bit toward the purple on this, but we don't have to go quite that much. Why don't we just put a little bit of black and white in there? Or another way to get less purple is this. Phthalo green, that's going to be less purple right away when I add that phthalo green in there. It's opposite to the purple. So now I've got a little more of a grayish blue. I don't know. You have to kind of make your own decision about just the right reflection color. And so then I really made that thin. So this is going to start drying fast on me. So let's just put more paint. Let's just not have that happen. The way to make the paint not dry fast is put more on there. So red and blue, we've got our violet color. Let's put a tiny bit of green. Okay, let's go in here. And then as we get this way, let's make it a little bit more of the color. Here's some of that maroon. I'm going to make it a little more of the color of this in here as I scoot over in here. See if I can make a smoother transition. Just straight lines. Bring it this way. And then I'm going to start putting the faces of the waves up in here. So we'll go like this. Put some underwater color. And so it's this right here, and somewhere in between the bright color, the dark color. Let's do black and maroon. Like this, get a browner color in here. And I like the way that came out. So we're just going to do some horizontal shapes. This is where the wave bends forward. You know, whatever kind of a little ripple I've got in there, it's bending forward a little bit. Let's do a few more in here. We've got maroon, and we'll just kind of put little streaks of it in here. Let's do a big one right here, like that. And then let's put black for some shadows and make it not quite so red, especially over here on this right side. because we want it to get browner as it goes over into here. And we also want less reflection as we get down lower in the picture. So let's put black in here. Let's put black right here. Put some in here. And here I'm going to leave it a little bit more red over on that side. So here we've got a little bit more of that maroon still showing. So I'm using the same knowledge, you know, the same knowledge of where the colors and the shapes are going to be, but just putting them together in a little bit different order. So now I'm moving quickly because that paint is real thin and it's going to dry fast on me. So where I have these waves, this is where I put my bright yellow highlights and just mix it enough that it's not yellow anymore. It just gives me some lighter spots where I can see under the water a little bit. So we go like this. And if I wanted to get a lot more detailed, I could have put that kind of texture across that blue base as well. Okay, and here I wanted it to be a little more of the red color. So let's grab a little bit of this color and make this more orange in here so that it kind of fades over into that water here. So we don't just have patches of different colors. Okay, now we've got some grayer color hopefully over here. Let's put a little bit of black. A little bit of black on this side to make it more gray. Black, maroon. There we go. There's our browner, muddier color. Right here, just wherever I want to see little shapes, highlights, rock tumbling forward. What it is just wherever the water is coming more downward, you know, falling more downward over the faces of things. That's where I'm going to see into the water. And wherever the surface of the water is going back, wherever my line of vision is parallel to the water, I see all reflection. There we go. So now I can put little bits of white in here, highlight this a little bit more. Maybe it's real shallow and we've got a lot of light visible in here. So let's put this up near the top of each little wave. I'm going to put the highlights up near the top. Some in there, some in there, some in there. And, you know, the tops are where it kind of comes to a peak. Here, let's put a few little highlights here while we're in this color. Wherever we already have that. So isn't it interesting how just this combination of colors, I've really done a somewhat sloppy job moving quick with it, but the combination of colors does the trick. It creates the impression of the water tumbling over, and then we have, you know, we have the reflection, and then we have the faces of the waves in here. So now I just want to try to fade this out a little bit more, make a little bit more even transition. So I've got kind of a very sudden line. Look at it from this angle. This is kind of fun. Right here. Let me see if I can. There we go. From here you zoom out on the picture and you can see this dark stripe going right up the bank. It's like sometimes in the current you have a different color, you know, where something's getting washed forward. I was just thinking maybe it's something like that. But this is all going to look better here. Let's go back where you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to start fading this with my colors. Gradually more red as I go to the left. So let's go more red right here. Put some black, a little bit more on the right side, less on the left side. Like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this black area for some reflection, like this. Because the black is going to produce my grayer color. So Here's kind of another way to just quickly put some reflection in there, is just hit the grayer areas with the white. Then come in here with the yellow, highlight the more orange spot, like that. Oh, I like that trick. That works pretty good. I'm going to do a little bit more of that. In here we'll do a little more of that bright redder color. We're going to go heavier on the black as we go in here, like this. Heavier on the black this way. There, now we've got our grayer color in there. And here, let's really load up the black right here. Like that. Make a dark spot. Okay, then we'll put yellow. I just keep switching up the order because, you know, I'm just having fun experimenting with I'm trying to get just enough on camera that I can see. I'm having fun experimenting with what order to do the same patterns. You know, I've got my reflection is the grayest color. And so, you know, this is just a shortcut to get that grayer color. I'll put it on the black areas. You know, come up with your own techniques. Having the knowledge of where the color patterns exist, what your end goal needs to look like, I think is a powerful, helpful thing. All right, so we've got our brighter, redder color in there. I'm going to put some white now on my blackest areas because I actually don't want super black shadows under the water. I want the contrast to go down. So let's go like this. White right there, flowing over this rock. White right there. You know, it's always at the end of a project that I do my best work. You spend all that time slaving over it. All the best techniques come out on the very last corner of the very last wall, and then I think, gosh, I wish I would have done that well on that big wall at the beginning of the project. So when you're doing stuff for a client, you know, that happens so much. All right, I'll put a little bit of white right in here. Here's a little more gray spot. And so I'm kind of keeping these lines a little bit separate to leave a little bit of detail in the shadows as well. So here we've got the face of a wave. We'll leave that nice and bright. Let's go over here. Keep our real bright orange rocks in the middle. Bright orange right there, right there. Fading out as it goes this way. Let's put a little bit of black on kind of the corners of these sections here. Here's another good spot for some yellow. Just finishing out this bottom edge of the painting. And how about some white highlights on there? Of course, my brush is dirty with like some black and stuff, so they're not that great of highlights, but they'll do. Put some in there, some in there. Wherever I've got a wave, I can put those little highlights. It's kind of cool how you can just make an impression of something. You know, you just get the colors in place. And I find that so much of the time that impression has a better feel than the realistic version. You know, there's really something to be said for leaving a lot to imagination. All right, now I'm thinking that I want to put some more like rocky formations and stuff in there. I think it'd be cool to have like a, you know, maybe some more rocks. You know, I bet it'd be cool to put rapids. Why don't we put like boulders in there and put the water kind of tumbling over it a little bit, like maybe it drops down or something. So let's do more of these guys in here. So what I need for that is my face color. So it's like a wave. I'm doing the waves all over again, but just doing bigger ones, because these are the front sides of rocks. And look, I'm using a lot of that black now, like this. Actually, we're going to bring that way up in here, like this. Bring it right down into the grass, like that. And we'll put some white on here. We got some very gray rocks now. Let's put a little bit of color in there. A little bit of that maroon and yellow for some brownish color. Just a little bit, not a lot. And then we've got kind of a mid-tone. Let's do a little more black. Okay, I've got a shadow. I've got a shadow touching a mid-tone, so now my highlight can be just white. And I can put it where I've got the color, not where I've got the black. So in order to get rocks catching the light, I just want to put that highlight where I've got color already established. Right in here. Dark colored rocks, they really come forward, don't they? When you leave that black shadow, they just, boom, they pop forward into the front of the picture. Just put a few little lines down here. I'm just building the shape of it, experimenting with more horizontal lines, more up and down lines, seeing what I like. The horizontal ones give me perspective. And I'm also getting rid of shadows that are overly black. I kind of hit the darkest spots. So I think it's way too hard. I think it's way too hard to comprehend all of these different, like if you're new to painting, right? So if maybe you're a better painter than me, and but you know, I mean this as encouragement. It's really hard to think of multiple things that need to happen all at the same time. So when you're developing this thinking through process, you know, if you ever wanted to know exactly the road I've gone down in order to build this proficiency in painting, it's just being conscious of what needs to happen. And then the quicker that comes to mind as I'm painting, the quicker the ideas of how to make it happen. So I'm painting this rock, and in real time, I'm putting the highlight on, and I'm keeping that highlight separate from the shadow, because I know that if it touches the shadow, it's going to turn gray. But then it crosses my mind, oh, that black is going to come real close to the foreground, and I need to save my darkest black for my closest thing. So I probably don't want something this far away. So to think about that while I'm remembering to keep the highlight off of the shadow and separate them with the mid-tone is just familiarity, the time that you build up. I mean, it feels overwhelming when you're thinking about it for the first time, and then you're like, I'm not meant to be a painter. This is way too frustrating. But demanding consciousness of many things at the same time is not realistic. You know, so you build up consciousness of many elements at the same time, and it does develop as you study in this way. If you study in this way to understand what needs to happen with those colors for your end result, not so much just memorizing a bunch of techniques, which is also good. Techniques are awesome, but this has been what has allowed me to develop techniques that get me where I want to be. So when I go out to here on this rock, I'm going to put the color like this on the front. So here now we're in the water. We're going to put water tumbling over these rocks. So I'll put my color in there like this. Let's put some yellow, and then let's put some black around the edges. Let's make it a little more red, because I'm kind of following my pattern of my more reddish rocks in the middle out here. So we're going to go a lot more red orange in there. And then I'm going to take black and put a little bit of shadow around these. So maybe shadow near the top and bottom. of these to gray the color and make it so that it feels like I'm just looking through the face of that wave right there. And then after I get that black around the edges, then I'm ready to come in here like this and do my little cascading waterfalls like this. Like this, we just take white and go straight down. And I just want enough shadow that I can see that white line right there. Let's go like that. Let's come across here. Let's go higher on that one. Maybe not just straight across the whole thing. And you can have these little guys anywhere, you know, anywhere it ramps up off of a little bump on the rock. So they don't have to just be in that line along the bottom. That's just where you're sure to have the most. And then I'll put a straight line so that it looks like they're all coming down and hitting the same level, you know, like this. Keep the perspective nice and tight on my picture. And then I might have like some water getting churned up, so I don't know what color to put in there. Maybe just that color that it is good. A little bit more colorful if it's stirring up mud, you know. Getting a little bit more color in there. Here, let's put some brighter little dabs, like it's maybe bubbling up just a little bit as it goes out. Just slightly diagonal lines, just ever so slightly diagonal. There's plenty of suggested distance with a little bit of an angle on those lines. Right here, let's put a little bit in there. And then I need a little bit of reflection on the top of these guys. So let's go like this and use that black that's on there. I got to blend that in because I don't want it to be a bright white. I need it to be similar to the rest of the reflection. And then in here I can just kind of just work the color. I like it if it kind of has a gradient. You know, where that reflection color just blends into that shadow. I'm going to get a little more. My paint dried a little bit, so I'm going to reapply this color in the middle. My black and a little bit of that more red maroon color. Bring that over in here. Get a little bit more blending into the white reflection color. Like that. There we go. So now the water's kind of tumbling over the rocks in that spot. We can do more of them too. You know, you can go crazy with those rocks. You can really put a lot of them. Might be fun. Might be fun to put a whole bunch in there. So we could just go like this. Let's just get our dark color and just put little faces of rocks all over this. Like this. Let's put it in here and here. Let's put some black. Like this. And this brush, you know, the way I'm putting the strokes on this, like this, again, it's against that long point. So I'm this way and I drag it this way, slightly downward, and it makes that kind of triangular little mound. So that's real handy when I'm doing a bunch of little rocks popping up out of the reflection. The angle is just enough to stop the reflection from showing up and show me what's under the water there. There, we got lots of rapids in here. That's kind of a shortcut way to tie it together too, huh? Got all that in there, but it looks a little bit overly systemized. Let's try to randomize that a little bit. Here we go. Put that. Now I'm going to put some white where my blackest areas are. Maybe here, maybe here. Just little bits of reflection. coming over those rocks. I'll get a little bit more black and white, maybe like right where I put that white, I'll put some more. Wherever I put the black, I need to make sure that I put the white right on top of it. So let's go like this. Maybe we've got a little bit of splashing happening in there. Like this, go over a few rocks. All right, there we've got some water tumbling over rocks in the distance now. I like the way that looks. And I feel like it would be cool to put like maybe some, what else can we do here? Let's put maybe some little grass blades going over into the water right here. So we've got our grass blades going into the dirt. I think this will be fun. Watch. If you do a bright green grass blade here, we'll repair this area in a minute. I'm going to use it to mix a bright green. And so we'll go black and yellow. Black and yellow will be good for a grassy color. And if we just go like this, we can put some bright grass blades coming down into the water, coming right up out of it right here. Let's put some black in there. Some little shadows at the base of these plants. And so to get real skinny lines like this, I'm just being real careful about the distance from the canvas. Just real careful about that. And so this is what I wanted to do that I thought would be fun, is I'm going to grab some yellow and black, and I'm going to zoom in so that you can see this little trick that I want to do with the reflection on these guys. Here we go. Let me just pull it down a tiny bit. Let's see if this works. I just want to go like this. Around, zigzagged reflections here. Let's just go. Bend that reflection there, bend it right here. And wherever I've already got reflection established, that's where I can make these little squiggly lines like highlights of the grass, but getting distorted by the water. So it was kind of hard to make the squiggly lines, you know, but you can see the effect I'm trying for here. There we go. Trying to make a little more of a a little more of a squiggle shape. That doesn't make sense if I don't have something up here doing it. We need bright colors. There we go. And then let's take some black and maybe get these. Here, this one is a little too extreme. Let's adjust that. So it's kind of fun to squiggle a reflection right around the, right around the established reflection areas. So maybe we need to come in here and put a little bit of brownish colored shadow in here. So maybe just some black and a little bit of brown, darker brown reflection. So, we would have a little bit of reflection, and this would not have the sky reflection right up to the edge because the grass is blocking that. So we want to see some reflection, just a dark brown color, because that's the color of my rocks that are down there. So I'll put reflection under this grass coming down here, and I'll just make the reflection out of all these little horizontal lines. Like this, and let's put a few across here, just get a few little dark strokes in there so that I've got. So this dark, it can be confusing trying to think of what's reflection and what's not. But think of that dark color as reflection, not my underwater color. So Here my underwater color is dark, but here, this would be, if I was getting real detailed with this, that would be my reflection color changing suddenly to the blue reflection color, whether it's reflecting the undersides of grass blades or the sky. That's what's getting reflected there. So, let's put a little bit of shadow on the grass to kind of show that feel a little bit more. Let's put some black going up here. Right here, nice black colors in the foreground is always a good bet. Just putting some yellow and black going back and forth, getting some dark shadows coming out of there. Here, let's put a little bit of yellow on the reflection too. Like just a little bit where it's catching the light. That's probably too much. There we go. A little bit less. Okay, I'm going to go darker over here, darker over here. Let's put that black in place. I'm going to finish this picture on the edge. Let's zoom back out so you can see what I'm doing. Almost forgot. I'm going to be painting all alone here. We're going to put the dark muddy shadow. It's not a shadow, it's a reflection, but I don't know. I guess you could kind of think of them as a similar thing. It's blocking light, so in that sense it's a shadow. Let's go like this. Put black on here. Just trying to make this darker brown so that I can put some black and yellow coming out over it. Black in here. Nice heavy amount of black. And then I'm going to take yellow and put a bunch of grass blades coming out of this like that. Just black and yellow is all I need. Might be fun to do some green too. Here, let's see what it looks like. Let's get a little bit of green. Get some bright green grass. Put a few little spots of it in here. Okay, we've got a bank coming close to the water, lots of plants enjoying the edge of the stream there. Let's put yellow up in here as well. Like that, and then I'll just put a bunch of lines that kind of chop across it. This is a shortcut way to do grass, is by putting the colors directly on the canvas and then just being careful not to overmix so that you maintain separation between all the little lights and shadows that you want in there. Let's get a little more depth in this grass by putting a few little blades out in the front. I'm going to wait for that to dry and get rid of that red spot. Actually, here, let's not do that. Let's turn it into a dirt patch. This is where there's a little bit of dirt showing through and we've got some light. Wherever I've got red in the middle of my grass, I can just put the sun hitting that little spot. Bring that down behind the grass. Or maybe it's a little rock. And let's just put some black on this side of it. Make a shadow. Now we've got the light kind of coming from over here, shining down there. And then some yellow right here. I can just go like that. Put these grass blades going up, catching the sunlight. Maybe a little green because I've got that in the rest. But I feel like grass is mostly black and yellow, more realistic grass color. But we'll do this to stay consistent with the rest of the picture. Let's put a little bit of white highlight on these brightest colors, like this. I need my bigger brush now. It gives me more more stringy texture. That white actually wasn't that good of an addition to this. The white didn't really make it look that much better. All right, there we go. Let's do a little more black and yellow in there. Let's get a little bit better shadow like this. A little more black and yellow because I went heavy on the white. And I'm not excited about the result that that gave me. So a little bit more of the other colors. Black, yellow, green. Put some more color in here. And then let's get we'll use the bigger brush to do any more of that. Because I can't get all this, all this grassy texture in here I got with the bigger brush. These big streaks. But this one is my finer detail brush. I'm stuck doing the grass blades individually with this brush. So there is some value to using the right tool. Watch this little trick. You can grab some white. If you want a lot more lengthy tutorial on this, check out the How to Paint a Landscape series on my website. And you'll see this technique, how to do a grass real quick, just like this. But on a big wall with big brushes, you can get the same kind of effect. Okay, now I'm going to, here, let's zoom out. Maybe you can help me. Help me decide where to go with this picture. I'm actually not sure. Let's go like this. All right. You can see my final product in here. Looks better from a distance, doesn't it? It always does. It always looks better when you stand back or when you sleep and come back to it. So real looking, says Paige. Thank you. Thank you. Just knowing those color patterns, man, that's all it is. It's like I'm cheating. Somebody said once, one of my favorite comments of all time on my YouTube videos was, it's like you're using cheat code or something. Maybe a gamer was looking at it. It's like you're using cheat codes or something on that. I am using the cheat codes. Exactly like a compost pile. Love the grass. All right, thanks, Susan. Thanks. Great grass. Any paint extender? No. Nope. And on top of that, this is a very dry climate. So I am battling fast dry time, but that's what allows me to do layers on layers on layers. In a few minutes, I come to this and put paint over it if I don't like it. So this is where I just really harp on using heavy paint. You need to give yourself, like playing in the mud, you got to give yourself something to stir around. That's how you work with fast drying paint. And the only way that you get real quick at that or get good results is by giving yourself lots of room to just make garbage. You get practice boards, you put a ton of paint, and you try to follow a method, of course, but working with fast drying paints with this specific technique of blending it while I'm going is just a lot of experiments and not being careful about getting just the right color on a palette, then going here. It's just dry before you can do anything. That camera angle makes the painting fuzzy. This one right now, is that what you're talking about? I mean, I've just got a webcam on autofocus. But, fuzzy hides the imperfections. It makes me look like I'm a better artist. Love the shallow water effects. Good, thank you. Referring to the way it would look if I painted it. Yeah, right, I got it. Yeah. Okay. Now I get it. Now I see what you were saying. Just keeps building into more beautiful scenes. Thank you. I'm glad I'm making some progress. Maggie says, just discovered you. Great. Thank you. Are you using oil? No, it's acrylic wall paint. Same thing you paint a wall with as I'm using it. And also you can see how to paint a beach wave in acrylics to see a project that I do with acrylic paints. And I have yet to do any lengthy tutorial with oils, although I do love working with oils. It's just more time intensive and less user friendly, I feel. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Mary says, yes. Yeah, I know. We want oil tutorials, huh? We got to do that. Do you use water to mix? Yep, I do. I put water in there. I did that during this video a little bit. Threw some water up on the reflection. Thought it looked like abstract flowers. That happens totally if you get yellow enough. We can make those flowers right now. And so that's a good thing. That'll be a fun thing to add into the picture if we go here and just put bright yellow. If we just go like this. Here, let me get my bigger brush now. I'm using this. I love to use these contractor style brushes. And we can just take yellow. Now, yellow is a real good option for flowers because it's bright enough. But doing red flowers, that's a tricky thing because outside we have sunlight. We have just a huge spectrum of lightest to darkest compared to what's available with paint. So red is very dark and it's hard to get it to look like flowers. But yellow, not so hard. So I just go here where it's already dry, and if it's bright and yellow enough, it's going to look like little patches of flowers. If it's got just a touch of green, it's probably going to look like highlights on the grass. But I can just make a field of yellow flowers in here, and maybe I can add a little bit of red. And the reason I'll do that is because when you make shadows on yellow, you need to use a brown, because adding any dark color to yellow gets kind of green, and the light doesn't get greener as it goes into the shadows. It actually goes the opposite way. So if I put some red in here, we'll just make little bits of red mixed in with the yellow. It kind of does look like some red flowers in there now, huh? I should just leave it kind of unmixed. So we'll leave some red flowers in there, going up under this tree. And then we'll put a more orange color. Watch this. Let's do more orange in here. More orange in here. And what the orange can do is set me up for, it'll set me up for some shadows on my flowers. I can go like this. Bright yellow now over the top of that oranger color, that more orange. Is it oranger or more orange? Okay, put yellow there, and that little bit is better for making a more 3D look. I've got kind of unmixed yellow here. There's some white in there. I need a yellower color. So anyway, if you want to make shadows, and if you want to avoid a yellow looking a little bit too green, then just those little dabs of red can really help with that. Here, let's put some white flowers in there too. Wouldn't that be cool? Let's do this. Donk. Okay. We've got lots of white right there. Let's put that white going right up to the shoreline. And so now what I need to do is really dab that with the brush a few times to get some of these other colors in here to create some shadow, so it's not just one continuous blob of paint. So I'm wiping off some of the excess paint here, and I'm going to use maybe just a touch of black. You can't see it, but I just, here, yeah, you can see it. I put a tiny bit of black in my brush, and to keep that from turning green, because that black will turn green in the yellow, just like you saw with the grass. Put a little bit of red in there. Now if I go like this, I'm not going to get green shadows, but I'll get just barely enough color in there to break apart this white and make it not just look like a blob. I mean, I think that's the goal. Let's dab it a little bit more. Like that. Now maybe we'll just go a light touch Let's see if we can get a little bit better details in here. I think that it's easy to underestimate what kind of texture details viewers are capable of seeing and appreciating, because it feels like you're just painting ridiculously small things. You know, we want all of our elements in a painting. As an artist, it's nice if all the elements in a painting are big and easy to understand. Big brush strokes, it's this shape, it's, you know, but a lot of the time it's just a combination of very subtle and small things that makes a big visual difference. That can be frustrating, but if you know that it's true, then you might do something like adjust the texture of your patch of white flowers in order to make it feel a little bit more like broken apart shapes in the distance. Okay, so now I've kind of lost the edge of my rock, so why don't we just put that back in real quick. Let's put black and white right here, like this. We had a little bit of brown in there, so we could just grab some maroon and yellow to get a little more brown color. There we go. And then it's mostly gray, so let's just put that in there. We've got some black, and all I'm doing is just trying to repair my little edge here. So let's go up here and just draw this line across these flowers. The paint's still a little bit wet, so it's letting me just kind of draw a straight edge right across it there. And then I'm going to put some grass. Let's put some grass going across here now. We've got black and we've got green. Let's put a little bit of green in here, and then let's put yellow like this. What do you think? Up or down? Let's put yellow right here. Whoa, that's nice and bright. I'm going to go like this and go up in front of this rock, like that. Ooh, that was kind of rough. Okay, let's see if we can get a little bit better, more stringy pull off. Not the best I ever did with that. Let's go like this. Let me put a little bit of white highlight on that too. We got white, yellow, nice bright highlights on this grass. There we go. Okay, and then once again, I feel like I didn't quite get the stringy grass blade texture I wanted, so I'm going to go back to my brown, just add some of that maroon, add some of this black, and just pull it down into that grass. Like this. There we go. Now we've got the grass coming up in front of the rock because we've got wet on wet, and I get a lot more of my little stringy pull-off marks, you know. Blend those together, put a little bit of the maroon where I've got that yellow, I don't want that. Black right there. Just trying to separate my rock from the grass. There we go. And so now I need to finish this up. I really need to finish up this picture. That's a nice little spot to eat lunch, isn't it? I would really like to sit there right now. And zoom out. Whoop, wrong way. Zoom out, zoom out. Look, we've got that bright little highlight by the shore. Isn't that fun? I didn't have that planned, but I like the way it came out. So I feel like it needs something over here. Let's focus this camera. It'd be cool to have a tree coming up off of this rock. I think that'd be neat. And I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to tidy up these edges, put a tree coming off this rock, and then I'm going to adjust this reflection color a little bit to be a little darker because this is out of balance. I've got this reflection coming down. It's a little bit too light blue-gray for me right in there. And so I think it'll look a little bit better because of how dark this is. You know, this is dark. If both colors are darker than the reflection, then I'm off because, okay, I'm just explaining my thought process. I'm hearing myself thinking, I sound like a rambling madman right now. But this is the process. I want this to be in between the reflection source and what it's reflecting on, both in color and in brightness. So when I look at this, I got the color pretty good, but the brightness, it's lighter than both of them. So that's not in between. So I'm too much of a control freak and a perfectionist to let that go. We're going to put gray on here, black and white. We've got that gray color, and we're just going to go a little bit darker than what was on there. That's all it needs. That's all it needs to blend into this picture a little bit better. A little bit darker on that reflection. Come across here. I guess we're going to lose some of those little ripples. As much as I love the way they look. Let's put some water in there. Who was it that was just mentioning water? I'm putting water on it right now. Like that. To just blend this down into here. And now I've got a little better reflection on there. I like that more. Let's put a little bit of white here. It got a little bit dark in that spot. A little more water. Let's really put water on it right here. Just like this. That's going to get quite a bit darker when it dries because of how much water is in it. I still think it needs to be, what do you think? A little bit darker? Now let's just go brighter on this reflection. All right, now I'm going to put these little strips of underwater color going across. So we've got that orange color. I'm just going to start here and match this where I know that I want it. We've got the front of a little wave here. And we're going to go across here, make one in here, make one here, like that. And let's zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Let's go here. And I'm going to put little bits of reflection going across this spot now. I feel like this is going to tie the two sides of the painting together better. So we're going to put, that's my kids in the other room. You can hear my 5-year-old. They just got back from getting lunches over at the school. The schools have been giving free lunches every day, man. It's the coolest thing. Okay, let's go like this. Put yellow in there. Little highlights right there. Right here's some. And I can carry this right over into this section as well. Those little highlights. So I've got a dark reflection meeting a light reflection. Just carry the face of the wave right through those two things. And I can put a little bit of white to really, if I want to really enhance that, put a little bit of light. Just catching the top of those little spots like they're sunlit ripples. Like this. Right in here. Let's get a little more of this maroon color here. A little more of that. We've got maroon, we've got black. Just get my brown in place first. I'm just using this for my mixing spot. Here, let's put that black right here so we can turn it into reflection. Like that, and then we'll put our other colors on there. Lots of color. I'm getting lots of paint on there. Okay, let's get black. Here's a good color. Now we're at a good brown. Put black in here. I'm getting bigger waves as I come down closer and closer in the picture. Then I want to put my nice bright yellow color right in here, here. Wherever I've got that color. I'm not looking for maroon colored river. It's just the first stage to get these bright little highlights. Like this, real sunlit kind of a look. Okay, then I'll put a little bit of white on top of the yellow, just a little bit. Just a little bit right in here. Put some here, like this, here. A little bit in here. Just going across the picture, doing that same thing. Wherever I see those little waves, putting the highlights in place. Then I'm going to put reflection on the black, going across the top of this. Make that blend in a little bit better. We'll go right here. All right. Let's put some black and white. Black and white for the reflection. Like that, right across the top of this guy. There, now I've got that big ripple coming over that rock. Anywhere else I see those, I could put the water kind of reflecting, tumbling over the tops of those, just with a little gray line, like that. Okay, I'm happier with that section now. I'm not sure that I changed it a lot. Oh man, how'd that get on my brush? I didn't even know that I had that in there. I'm going to have to change that now. Let's put some of that in there. Here, let's put this black and white in here. Let's see what happens if I just put black and white right across there. And this was where I wanted that reflection to come down to an end. So I'm just putting the black and white on top of this orange to make this line right here, that's the top of those trees. Just blending that, making it get more and more orange as it comes down here and be just a touch darker. Let's put more of that orange in there, just a touch darker than the reflection color that's under it. So if it matches, that means it's darker. That's how I know that I've got it just a little bit darker, is if it matches. Because water-based paint dries darker. I'll get just a little bit more black here to make the color not quite as pink looking. Black and yellow. Get a little bit more green. Go right in here. Well, I could go on and on and on with this, trying to exact the colors that I want. But in the end, it is valuable for me to remember that if it looks good, it looks good. You know, it's important to not get too absorbed. You know, I like to know all the science behind why it is the way it is as a tool, you know, a tool for me to use. But that doesn't mean that it needs to be used. I think good-looking painting stands alone. It doesn't always have to. This isn't the superior method. I just like having a path. I like having answers to my questions, clear path to get to the goal that I'm trying to reach, the look that I'm after. Just like right now, I'm after just that perfect shade of gray that comes down here and turns a little bit more brown to get this gradient right here, like this, little more brown as it comes down here, and then I just have the slightest suggestion of a lighter grayer color under it to form the top of that tree line. I did this yesterday, but since I adjusted the colors, so here I just want to be a little bit lighter. Just come down here, little tiny bit lighter. Then we'll grab our brown colors, put those in there as well. There, look at that. We've got just the slightest change in color. And, you know, if it's telling the same story, if you got things telling the same story, then you've got yourself a picture. Let's get a little tiny bit lighter here. Maybe a little more right in here. Let's use some water. There we go. We've got the tree line coming down. It's hard, you know, making those changes so that we see that See that line? But we're also building a gradient at the same time going down into the more orange water. So down here I'll finish it off with a few little eye catchers, you know, like just a tumbling rock here. Am I painting off camera again? My bad, guys. Zoom out a little bit. There, now you can see that tree line that I'm talking about. Darken to that reflection just a little to get it to blend into the picture a little bit better. I'm going to just finish off this corner with the big rock right here. Here, let's focus it. And down here I'm going to put the water tumbling off of a big rock again. Let's go black, maroon. Let's make it real big. It's in the foreground. Like this. Then I don't have to do as much work with the little details. If I just make a big interesting thing right here, then it's less work that I have to do in all of these areas. You know, here I'll put a few little ripples in, like this. Put some highlights inside of them. It looks like it needs maybe just a little bit more of that red. A little more of that red in there. Put some black. And then we just need our bright highlight now. Right in here, let's put the white where I have that yellow. Like this. Then down here I'm going to put the water tumbling over like this, like that. Just put the white stripes going straight down. Let's zoom out a little bit so that you can see that, or at least bend down. Let's go like this. There we go. That's the bottom of the picture right there. We're going to go, let's stagger it a little bit. Don't make a level line. Make it get smaller as it goes over to that edge. Let's put some black in there so that it's not as colored. This is reflecting a lot of the sky. So we'll put most of the black down low. And this will make it look like it's kind of bending down. More reflective up here at the tops where it shoots out off the rock. Like this. This has got to be one of the funnest effects to paint. It's so fun to just put lines going down and then, you know, have cascading water. Like that. Put some brighter spots, just a couple little brighter spots. A little bit of reflection on top. This will be a good addition. A little bit of black and white. Kind of zigzag the strokes, so there's like a few little ripples tumbling over, you know. Like this. Tumbling down here, making some white water. We'll just go like, we'll really churn this up with some brighter oranger color. Right in here, let's get some yellow and really make the water getting stirred up. The sun's hitting it like this. There we go. It's kind of glowing in the sun as it stirs up all of the little bubbles in the water right there. Then we'll just use black to make reflection on that. You know, you can do that. You can just put black. Make little bits of reflection on top of the white water with the gray. And this is going to fade out into here. We'll kind of gradually turn that yellower as it's brighter, redder where it's darker, so lots of yellow in there. Here, let's use my old painting to discard the paint. Yellower as it gets brighter right here. That's what gives it a natural glow, is if it has that change, you know, right here where it's bright, it's yellower. Gets redder as it comes this way. And then we're fading down into the rest of the stream, so I can just add a few little shadows in here, just try to do something that looks like little rocks. I'll blend the tops of the shadows. I want those to be little tiny crevices, little gaps between rocks in the water. So I'll blend the top edge of any shadow, blend the bottom edge of any highlight. Just a real systematic approach to putting rocks under the water. Like this. Blend that. Now, just making sure you can still see what I'm doing. That one doesn't look very good. Let's just get rid of it. Just put some highlights in here. You don't need to see a whole lot of reflection. A shallow stream bed with lots of light in it. You know, we don't need to see a whole ton of reflection right there. We can just put little rocks in it. Nice and bright. Look, it's fun to have that light in there. Let's put white wherever we have that yellow. Put some bright light hitting that. A little bit in there, a little bit here. There, just kind of a little suggestion of some little squiggly bright lines. You know, you could go crazy and do that all over the painting if you wanted to. Is any of my maroon color still wet? I got some right here. Go in here and kind of grab some of this color. Okay. I ended up not liking the way that the red and the orange were. I'm going to do it again. Put yellow highlights on there like this, and then let's do the white again. There we go. Just wherever I see rocks, I'm kind of targeting those areas. There we got some light showing through our little stream. Now up here I want to put like a big green thing on this rock. So let's go up there. Let's go up there and let's do this one last thing on this painting. You want an interesting looking tree. All right, let's see if you guys are bored. See if you're bored yet. I'm just going to take one quick look over. We're going to finish this painting now. We're just minutes away from being done. What time is it anyway? Oh, 10:30. We've already been going an hour and a half. Man. New rock looks too tall in the water to have the water coming over it. I guess you're right about that. Huh. Interesting. You know how we fix that? Round the bottom. Change the perspective is how I would do that. But I'm just going to leave it. What is the focal point of the painting? Man, I don't know. I still haven't figured that out. Is the rock in the middle of the water or the flowers? Thanks. But that is a very valuable question. Try to make the painting about something, not 20 things. You know, a story that's about something is way better than a rambling person, right? So, good question. Are you kidding? Time flies. Yes, it does. Don't care how long it takes. Thanks, Tom. Thanks. Maybe a fancy looking pine. That's not a bad idea. Not bored. All right, all right. Wish I was there. I know that's what I said. I wish I was there with those flowers. I think the rock is the focal point. Okay, okay. Well, we've got a problem in that way. So this is my problem, is that I have made multiple focal points on this picture. So if we zoom out and we look like this, we definitely have, of course I don't mind it. I don't mind it, I kind of like it. But I totally see what you mean, you know. Here, let's focus that camera. Let's focus that. I think putting a tree is actually going to detract from the picture, unless I do it real simple. So I would say the focal point, because light is such a powerful draw. I feel like there's light coming through, hitting here. I feel like this area is the just like you said, I want to be there with the flowers. This is the part where I feel like I want to be. And so I'm going to call that the focal point. And so, you know, this is a highly subjective thing. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong camera. I didn't switch the camera over, sorry. Getting used to that. And so let's switch it over here. There. I meant to give you a good view while I was talking. So I feel like this rock is cool. It's a really cool thing. And but it's over here next to this other really cool thing. And so I feel like there's a path here that's where you want to be. In this picture, I feel like this is where I want to go, right there. And for that reason, I feel like the focal point is this area. So I do like the idea of a thing in there that makes this the focal point. So instead of putting a tree way over on this side, you know, maybe I could kind of run with this. Man, I don't know what I'm talking about. I am so full of baloney. I'm just going to do whatever looks good. Okay. At the moment, that's what it comes down to. Don't ask me about composition. Not my area of expertise. No, I mean, I have theories about it. It's highly theoretical for me still. I mean that jokingly when I say don't ask me. I mean it jokingly. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to just go ahead and stick with my plan to put a tree right in here. We're just going to go like that. And I'll zoom in so you can see me paint that tree real quick. We're going to put black and yellow on there to put a tree that is best buddies with this rock. We'll put black like this. We'll put some white because I don't want black for a distant tree. And maybe we'll put a little bit of blue in there. This is my shadow color. Let's put a little bit of blue. And let's just go like this and go, maybe it's some kind of a juniper. These brushes are real good for making like a juniper looking leaf pattern. Let's go like that, and let's put some yellow on top of there, like this. Just blobs of yellow, and then what I'm going to do is dab the lower right section of these yellow blobs just enough to blend it into the shadow so that I get a little bit more 3D look. Go over here, do the same thing, put yellow coming out there. It's going to turn green when it mixes. After it turns green, then I'm ready to put some white on top of it, and we got to make sure that we blend that white enough. Let's put just a touch of green. How about just a touch of that phthalo green in there, wherever I put that yellow and white. Needs more yellow. There we go. And you can see it starting to overmix. You can see it real quickly starting to overmix. Okay, so I like that green. Now I'm going to put black back in there. Bring the black back. Put little dots right in here. Right there, but I don't want it to be pure black. So after I get my little deep shadows in there, I'm going to do a lot of dabbing on it to blend out the edges. So wherever I've got edges on those black spots, I'm just going to blend them kind of upward. If it's just a little dot of black, I feel like it's a nice little highlight on the tree, but overall I want to keep the shadows light. Like that. Yeah, that's kind of fun. What kind of tree is this? Man, I don't know. Some kind of a juniper-ish thing though, huh? Put a little more shadow down here. Right there. Then we'll put a tree trunk in there. Needs a little bit of a trunk. We'll do with this maroon color. We'll just go like this. Put that line going down. Put a little highlight on it right here. And put a little bit of a shadow right here where it's going down, kind of growing along this rock. Found some little crevices to get its roots in. Let's put little branches going out like this. Maybe a little bit more of that maroon color. Right on top of that black to give me a brown. Let's put little branches going through some of these little pockets here. There we go. And put like little highlights on that trunk here. Maybe it's coming down through here, goes across there, maybe comes down this way. We got roots coming down. It's pretty fun. I like that tree. But does it fit? Does it fit in the picture? That is the greater question. No. I don't think so. All right, I focused the camera out here so that I can straighten up this background. Because I want to go in here and tidy up this edge. I want to see an edge on this. I used a little bit of that phthalo green to get this color. Here, add black and white to it to get it to be grayer. There's black. Here's white. Let's get a little more black. And I'm just bringing these trees right up to this edge right here. Let's get a little bit more white. There, that'll blend a little bit better. I just want this edge to go right down to here. And then I need my gray reflection color. That's got to go out a little further now, like this. We got to bring that out under this guy so that that's consistent. Just cleaning up my last little edges, and then we're going to call this done. Like this, bring that reflection out. There we go. Focal point. What is the focal point? Indeed. Is it that random tree? I'm beat by that one. I think it'd be cool though to see some rocks. Let's look at the small picture. I think it'd be cool to see some big rocky cliffs going across that opposite shore. What if we put big rocky cliffs going here? Maybe building this will help me develop a focal point. Let's go black. Put some shadows in, just gray shadows. Here we're going to go up behind this tree now. There we go. We're going to put some cliffs. I won't need to adjust the reflection color because I'm going to keep it similar enough. And then we'll put some brown color in here, like this. Here, let's zoom in a little bit and you see what I'm doing. Let's go here. Let's put some brown color in there. You know, I think that doing the live shows, I think the reason that this doesn't have a good focal point is because I'm a lot more caught up in just making a fun show and just painting whatever we can cram into a picture. But, you know, there is something to be said for refraining from doing that. You know, just picking fewer elements. A few elements done really well, I think, is stronger, more valuable than a big collection of elements that are done really well. You know, I just think when you have a whole bunch of things going on, they can compete with each other. All right, we're putting a few little highlights, some brighter colors in there. Let's go over here, put a little bit more shadow in with this black. Maybe a little bit right there, a little bit there. Kind of got an edge going up like that. As long as I keep them light enough, this will look distant and a lot bigger. Let's put little layers, like strata layers going across like that. That's one way to make it look bigger and further. Then let's put some more of that brown color in there. Let's go over here. We've got some maroon, some yellow. Let's just blast that with some color in here. Like this. We need a little bit more of that maroon. We're getting a little bit on the yellow side with that. And let's get some white and just put some higher higher, bigger shapes, somewhere off the shadows in the yellower, brighter highlights. Let's put shapes going across like this. Who knows what's going to come out? But I know that if I put a nice bright top on it, then it's going to be a cool effect of like a high rocky ridge back there. There we go, that's kind of fun, coming down that way. Now the reflection doesn't make sense. Oh well. Let's put a little bit of like light colored fog coming across here. Like that. Put a little bit of blue in it. A little bit of blue right here. And a little bit of magenta to make it more purple. And then we'll go like this and go. Put a misty cloud coming by. That's another way to create size and distance, is put atmosphere on it. There we go. Blend these edges right here, make it go back here. Right there. Oh, it kind of looks like a misty stream now. I should take that same effect over right across here. Let's just take white and just bring it right across there with some water. Just rinse my brush in water and just add some fog in here. You've only got a few seconds to really do a good job with some real soft fog, because it's going to start pulling and leaving texture that you don't want to see real fast. So you got to spread it on there real quick and then leave it alone, you know, if you want that effect. There, you can even just barely see the reflection through it. That's kind of fun. It's kind of fun having that mist there. Well, now that it's got the fog back there, now it feels like that tree is the focal point. I don't know. Let's debate it for a while. Okay, I'm going to zoom out, call it a day. Let's go right here. We're going to do a new painting on Thursday. Right there it is. That's the picture. No, I'm happy with how it came out. Okay, so let's cut back to the comments. Any last minute things you want to squeeze in? There's about a 10-second delay on this, so give me a minute to see what's in here, and we'll answer any questions that you want to talk about. Fog. It's always a last minute. Fog is a good last minute effect. I'm having problems. Fog it. I feel like that's what they do on movie sets. The set doesn't look quite right. Well, let's add some fog. Let's see here. That ties it all with the fog. Yeah. Wow, mist. Great foggy atmosphere. I guess the fog's a hit. That's what it needed. You need to get out canoeing more. Yeah. Did you decide on a focal point? Nope. No. Let's let the viewer decide, huh? I'll leave it to the better artists to create masterpieces with great focal points. You know, I really see myself as more as a researcher, developer of good tools, trying to prove the point. I don't have the focal point thing figured out. But I'll tell you what I don't believe. I'm just gonna open up a can of worms right here and say that old trick, what is it, where you do like the star shape, all those lines, like dynamic something. No, you got to look it up. You use all the line. I think it's baloney. Seriously, I think it's baloney because you like draw all these lines and you say, oh, the old masters used these lines. I just don't see it. I don't see how it made the picture better. And I feel like I could draw star-shaped lines through any of my pictures and find find where things line up. It just seems like imagination's filling in the blanks. That's just me, though. My unasked for opinion on that matter. Favorites are the ones with water and cheese. Yeah, water and cheese are the best. Happy. Make you feel happy, huh? See you next time. Can't wait. All right. Thank you, Teresa. Ray Harryhausen's Cyclops tramping through the water among the surrounding beauty. That'd be like a movie scene, wouldn't it? That'd be cool. Have to watch the posted video. All right. I'm ready to jump in a canoe. Yeah, all right, cool. Thanks a bunch, Joe. You're welcome, Susan. Animal drinking water would be a great addition to that. Wondering if you would ever do a step-by-step painting along of a dragon. Oh, I love that idea. A dragon. That is a good idea. But to turn it into a step-by-step, now that's a different story because, you can really bother people by calling something a step-by-step, but not really identifying what the steps are. And that can be hard when you're someone that works creatively, developing as you go. I'm going to need time to think about that one, but I love the idea. Is there a reason you mix the paint on the canvas? It would make me so nervous. Yeah, I totally relate. Yes, the reason I mix it on the canvas is because I get color diversity that I don't get if I pre-mix the color I need. I just have that color. But if I mix, to a percentage of the color I need, I get all of these intermediate colors surrounding. So my whole canvas is filled with tons of color diversity by just mixing to a certain point as I put my primaries on and mix to a certain point, and then I get all this detail and texture as a result, as a byproduct of that process. Also, time. It buys me time. If I go straight to the canvas, it's less time that it's drying on the palette. And so I just tried to develop speed and proficiency on getting to the color I needed quickly in order to battle the dry time, the fast dry time of water-based paint, which I needed to use to do murals for clients. Using oil was not an option for so many murals that I painted in bedrooms, houses, different places. Love how it's delicate and detailed in the foreground and how it fades into simpler, more stylized background. All right, thanks. That's good. Good observation. Thanks a lot for that. Tree reflect in the water? It should. It should. But, we've got all these rapids happening. I'll leave it alone. That'll be a real technical thing to add. But you're right. Good. Good call. Don't forget. Nope, I don't know what that means. You are good, thank you. Dogs playing poker. Just kidding. But that would be funny. You mean the golden ratio? No, not the golden ratio. No, there's another thing. There's another thing. I got to think the name of it. It's probably best that we don't come up with it because I'm going to be that jerk that was against traditional artistic thinking, I actually think the golden ratio is a phenomenal, amazing pattern in nature. I want to research that one. I want to learn more about that. Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. Whoa. So is that where the Cyclops would be? Dragon! Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, we'll do a dragon. We can do that. A dinosaur, castle. Oh man, we could just do all those in the same picture. Dinosaur, dragon, castle. Takes the seriousness out. For sure. or even just painting along, I think would build confidence. Yeah, totally, yeah. I see what you mean. That is a great idea. Are you self-taught? How long did it take you to get this good? I'm overwhelmed with all the details. Hey, thanks. Thanks for the compliment. And, you know, I suppose that would be the common way to describe my understanding, my ability is self-taught. But it always just sounds a little bit too arrogant. When I hear the word self-taught come out of my mouth, I don't like the way it sounds because, you know, we rely so much on all of the influences, the work that others have done. There were people doing beautiful paintings, and I looked at those and looked at their examples. So, you know, the initiative is self-imposed to study what others had done well, try to pull that knowledge. You know, someone taught me how to use a brush. Someone taught me how paint works, how to do business. Someone commented on my work and tipped me off to knowledge I wouldn't have otherwise had. You know, it takes a lot of influences to learn something well. So, you know, maybe self-studied is a way to say it. Been trying to figure out how to do a sky landscape where clouds act like the ground. Like clouds below you? That'd be cool. So you mean like, so you're gonna have to specify that one. That's a cool idea. I would like to do that. Obvious focal points were considered old school and contrived by the Impressionists. That's what Robert Roberts says. Interesting. I've been trying to figure out how to do, oh yeah, I've read that one. Golden Ratio and Mickey Mouse and Math Magic Land. Ha ha. Ha ha. Mickey Mouse. Nice. All right. Golden Ratio, huh? I'm surprised that was in there. Do you have color rules for creating depth in a painting? Yes. And you can look at my How to Paint a Landscape bundle on my site and get all the details that you never wanted to know about what it takes to produce depth with atmosphere in a landscape. I went to great lengths to try to put those details into a series. So if you just get the all video bundle, or if you just get the How to Paint a Landscape bundle on my site, then you'll see that there's one series specifically that is the fundamentals of landscape painting. So search that, type that in on YouTube, the fundamentals of landscape painting, Mural Joe, and I'll explain the very specific color principles I use for atmosphere in landscapes. Thanks for your help. Yours is a God-given gift. And yes, Cyclops is from Sinbad. Thank you, Sly, very much. It is a God-given gift. You're right. And for that reason, I should not call myself self-taught. Clouds would be like the hills, ground in the landscape. Oh, okay, cool. Still sky above those clouds, maybe mountains poking through. Yeah, okay, I got you. Like you're on a high mountain, you see clouds down below. Right, that's awesome scenery. I think that would be really cool to paint. Purchased your packages before. Will your new videos be added, or do I have to buy new videos? Oh, if you got them before and you don't have them now, then send me an email. Just reply to the original email. You know, you can reply to that that the purchase receipt comes on when you buy that. And I'll just restart the expiration on the download links, and I think all of the new ones will be added, and you can let me know if that's not the case. Thanks for your time, Joe. Love it. My canvases are here now. I can paint. See you on Thursday. All right, cool. Sounds good. All right, I don't know what I'm going to paint. I would love to tell you we're going to paint this or be ready to paint this. I don't know. I'm going to just think about it and see what I have energy for. I'm starting to lose my voice at the moment. And so I've got to shut this down. I feel real bad hanging up on you guys, but thank you. All right, I'm doing it. I'm hitting end. Really appreciate you guys watching. It's always fun hanging out. It's the best.